Down here. I feel good. I feel good with everybody. The Lord. All right. Shalom, Israel. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's weekend was productive. Spiritual, man. I know a lot of Israel out here is working hard and they're stretched very thin. And I just want to tell y'all, you're not alone. But there is a power in being tired and exhausted and doing the right thing for the Most High. It is a blessing when you're sitting back here and you have nothing left in the tank after a long day's work, whether you're working, whether you're teaching, whatever you're doing, knowing that you gave everything you could for the Most High is no greater satisfaction than that. So I'm just thinking about where everybody's at, not just in our camp, but in other schools, whether it's in Houston, Virginia, and Rochester. I know everybody's burning out and everybody's extending themselves to the max. Just know that you're not alone in this fight and in this battle, and just keep up the good work and make sure in with all the efforts you're doing, you get the spiritual understanding behind it. So that so you get clarity and understanding through everything you're experiencing. Today the title of the class is The Foundations of Ordering Your Home. And I think that's a very important topic, because as we're getting young men and women in the truth, and there's a lot of growth. These type of classes are great reminders for how to set up the proper foundation of learning and growth, and just the understanding how the dynamic in an Israelite marriage and Israelite structuring of the home is all about. On top of that, for those young men who aren't married, or for brothers who are captains and have kind of an understanding of establishing your home, it's always good to kind of go back over these concepts, and you're going to start seeing the parallels in putting your home together are the same kind of parallels that come from kind of developing young men and teaching men from scratch. Because the same mindset, because what we're going to go initially, before we just start talking about women better do this, women better do this, we want to make sure we teach the mindset of what teachers are supposed to be, husbands, brothers, and leaders should be taking when you're structuring, whether it's your home or anything that you are responsible for in this knowledge.
And I mean, one more point too, and also it's very important just to lay the foundation of communication, because what happens is people take the concept and they try to do what they hear without getting enough information in day-to-day communication, or at least week-to-week communication on the estate and affairs of the home, and they try to emulate what they're hearing and apply it.
Yep.
But this has to be applied with an experienced watchman.
Yep.
Overseeing that household affairs of the household. Just hearing the scriptures, just hearing the information, and then trying to emulate it. That's cool, bro.
And you're going to have a lot of trial and error. And what you're doing is what you're going to see is when you're trying to structure a household or a brotherhood, or you want to earn the respect of the men around you. You're gonna learn the more mistakes you make, the harder and more of an uphill battle you have to deal with in establishing trust and structure. So the less mistakes, the better. Okay, the less scenarios where you have to keep doing things over again and restarting again, the better when you're trying to take that position of leadership and direction in your home or amongst the brothers of your people. So that's why what he's saying, it makes so much sense. It's best to learn, ask, when you're around people with examples and experience in these arenas, before you just jump into it and start trying to play husband, trying to play officer, trying to play captain.
That's like looking at the blueprints of an airplane and say, I'm gonna build an airplane and then go flying.
I know.
You could do it, but
at your detriment.
You're gonna crash that plane because
Yep.
you're inexperienced. You need a person that's a master mechanic or a master architect of that particular field that can give you good advice, sound advice, as you put those blueprints together.
And I want to make sure there's no masters of putting the house here. This is hard ass shit. Excuse my French. I want to make sure. And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but
I'm saying for the example of engineering.
Well, I know. I'm just saying in our arena, there's no masters, but there's, we learn from mistakes. We've learned from our mistakes, and we try to sit back here and over. This is even the mindset of Israel from when I came in the 90s on. Everybody was so upset that there were holes and wrinkles in how Israel operated and how Israel carried themselves. But they never understood that we as a nation were evolving. And even now, we're still learning to evolve. And the trick is, as you're growing in this knowledge, and this is where you need teachers and examples, can you take all of the proper, strong elements that made potent men potent, and then trim the fat from men's mistakes in flesh? And can you sit back here and take all the proper lessons of understanding in the scriptures, take all the victories, and work on eradicating the mistakes? That's how you make every aspect of the work more potent and more efficient.
And that's what David said. David said, I became wiser than my elders.
That's the point.
Because he learned from the ancients. He learned from the more experienced.
You learn from their strengths.
Their example. Yeah.
And you learn what not to do from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's how each and every one of us can grow and ascend to be the best version of ourselves.
For example, Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Moses is a phenomenal man. But that one time he allowed his emotions to get to him and got angry, hit the rock,
Yep.
It did affect him long term.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to learn from both sides of his experience.
So the first thing we're going to first go into is when you are learning to put your home in order or structuring things around you, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 54 through 56. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54 through 56. I'm ready.
Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother.
Listen, for the most part, our eye has been evil towards each other because we've been raised up in a world to learn how to hate our brother. We've been raised up in the world to hate our people, and we've been raised up in a world to put our self-interest above the needs of our brother. And that's why that root of hatred has continued to build. You can also go, and I'm not going to go here, but even when you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 3, I think it's 2nd Ezra 3, and I'm not going to go there, I just want to make sure I see it and I'm in the right spot. But even in 2nd Ezra chapter 3, the Most High said that even with the law that he gave us, he never took away that wicked heart from us. So these curses that are still amongst our nation now has been there since the time we were getting the law. That natural inclination to choose ourself in front of our brother. Okay? Keep going.
And toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead.
And if this verse is not talking about specifically the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes, I don't know what the hell other verse in the Bible talks about us more than this verse and that verse about Achan and one that all gold garment. Those two verses were no doubt about it. It was talking about Israel, Judah, to be specific. I'm not even lying to you. All gold, come on now. All gold and the so-called black man running from his responsibilities and not being a father and not. These are things that are infamous for us. Okay, why am I saying this?
Yeah,
I'm saying this because this is what you as a man have to understand you're going into when you're going into marriage. You're going to go into this relationship understanding there's going to be a heavy pull to want to quit. There's going to be a heavy pull to tell yourself, why am I putting up with this shit? I want to be free. Let me be free. Because by nature, most of our people don't want to deal with responsibility. But what's responsibility in a nutshell? This is hard. Every day is a goddamn grind. Why isn't this easier? Why when I come home, there's always more work to deal with? There's always an issue to deal with.
It's not like the sitcoms.
It's not.
It's not.
And he says that because, listen, when we were raised, all we saw was the Huxtables
Yeah.
We saw the what other some of the
Family Matters.
I was past that one.
Family Matters.
Urkel, man. Everybody was smiling when they went home.
Bill Cosby, man, that was golden right there.
You never saw these guys actually work. It was always like the weekend when the shows were on. It was the weekend and it was after work. Nobody was tired. There was always time for dinner.
Yeah.
There was always these full-scale breakfasts.
Yeah.
Toast and cinnamon.
Good energy in the house.
OJ, eggs.
Laughter.
They laughed. Everything was small. Everything was well lit. Everything was. Real home. It's always dark. All these shades are closed. That's how your life be. Not all this damn light on right now. Anyway, what are we trying to say? The point we're trying to say is, because as we read, we know Deuteronomy 28 is about the curses and explains the curses.
Yeah.
And we understand that going into every marriage, you're fighting against the nature of each other. You're fighting against that nature of us that wants to be selfish, that wants to hate, that wants to see the worst in things. And what makes especially marriage difficult is when one person wants to be kind and considerate and then the other person doesn't. And then that negative kind of flip-flops. Then it jumps to the other person wants to do better, and the other person is cold because the other person was negative just a week ago. I'm saying that this is what you're really fighting. You're fighting this spirit of selfishness that is in the home, because this is why we were cursed in the first place. I think I got to go here. Go to 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 19 down, or from 20 down.
2nd Ezra 3 and verse 19.
This is what we're really facing when you're even dealing with marriage in its totality. And it's important that we're conscious of this, because we want to make, what makes marriages and unions difficult at times is because we take people so personally. We take what they do to us so personally.
Yeah.
And it's hard to detach that people are dealing with things inside of themselves. They're dealing with their nature. And if we understand the nature of the people that we work with as brothers, and the wives that we choose and the husbands that we choose, it's easier to start coping with these issues on a daily basis. So give me that verse, 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and 20.
2nd Ezra 3 and verse 20. And yet tookest thou.
Hold on, it's down to 25, sir. It's 20 to 25.
God.
Read
It says,
that.
and yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart.
He says, the Most High never took away from us. Matter of fact, give me 19, bro. I should have told you 19.
God. Verse 19. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel.
So through Moses' humility and him being in order when he was in Mount Sinai, all these changes in the sun and the sky, the fire, the earthquake, the wind, the cold, all the changing of seasons, the craziness that was going on in Mount Sinai, Moses was getting the law of the Heavenly Father to give to the people. Remember when he came down, the law was recited, and specifically the Most High communicated all the law to each person in their ears so they can understand it. So everybody got the law, everybody was told right from wrong. But give me verse 20.
Verse 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart.
Their wicked heart was still there. The Most High wasn't going to take that wicked spirit, that wicked mindset from mankind. The crazy thing is, as we've been talking to the brother about lately, is that wicked heart doesn't get pulled off of you until you earn it. You have to work off that wicked heart through your works, through your deeds. Then the Most High pulls off that wicked heart and gives you the Spirit of Christ. That'll be another class. But that wicked heart is still in you, and you got that law. And the Most High is trying to find out what you do with the scriptures and the word to offset that wicked heart that's in each and every one of us. Why is that so important? Because when we go back home, do we realize the person that we married, the person that we've chosen, has a wicked heart in them? And that's what we're fighting against. That's what we're arguing with. That's what we're dealing with in their spirit. if we can understand that as a nation, that wicked heart is in us, it's easier to start to maintain compassion. It's easier to maintain mercy and patience, because everybody is battling the negative that's inside that wicked heart that's the Most High never pulled off of us from the time of Moses. Read on.
God, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That's the point. The law, the scriptures, the way, the proper way to live was supposed to be used and applied to pull off that wicked heart, to pull off that wicked inclination.
Because of this too. And so once the law bring forth fruit,
Yes.
that means there's developmental actions that oppose my particular negative. If my wicked heart is lying, for example, then the fruit of the law would be the law will condemn and identify the lying is off, that telling fibs or not being sincere is off with the Most High.
Love it.
And then from that point, I will start to incrementally, step by step, scenario by scenario, month by month, incrementally learn to be more honest. Incrementally learn how to be more forthright and more transparent.
But
That's the fruit of the law.
But that fruit of the law is based upon what? Now what you're dealing with is what each person who has a proper grasp of the scriptures will take initiative and do. But if we're dealing with scripturally about how the Most High says we're supposed to look at the wife as the what?
Weaker vessel.
If the wife is the weaker vessel, then what is the lesson for us? If we're the one with the initiative, we're the one that's around Bible guys 24/7, what do you think we should be doing when we get home? We have to sit back here and understand that we have to supply our families and our children and our ribs with enough information and enough strength to help fight off their wicked heart. Think about what it takes for each and every one of y'all to stay halfway damn holy. The amount of work, the amount of consciousness. Listen, for those of y'all know what the hell I mean. You mean when y'all are on trucks? Y'all are playing Bible verses in classes all damn day. Or y'all, if y'all are on point, y'all are. I hope y'all are. I don't know. Maybe y'all ain't listening to nothing in class. I mean, maybe y'all listen to class in the trucks when y'all working. But if y'all want to stay clear-minded, you damn well have to. You got to be Bible crazy to sit back here and take off these negative thoughts that you have on you. The amount of energy that's exerted from teaching and counseling is what keeps us mentally clear. Do you think that the ribs and the sisters and the children are operating at that capacity?
This has been
But we expect in order spirits. We expect in order wives. We expect 1 4-hour session in Sabbath class to solve all the problems. You need to go to Sabbath class. That's the point. Go to Sabbath class today. That ain't gonna work, man. The punishment is, you better go to that Sabbath. Get that Bible in you. It takes more than just that to start clearing the mind out. And why am I saying that? Because this is what every Israelite husband is up against. This is what every Israelite brother, when he's dealing with another young man, teaching them, is up against. It's all of the negativity, that wicked spirit that the Most High just didn't pull off of us. This verse also proves that we can't operate in this very childish religious mindset when we pray, please, Father, take that spirit off of me. He ain't taking the spirit off of you. Take the spirit of lust off of me. Please take the lust off of me. Yeah. That lust ain't coming off you until you fight it off. Because that's that religious. I prayed and I really prayed. And I asked the Lord to take the negative thoughts away from me. And you hear that footprints damn poem. Where how come there's only one footpath in the sandy beach? Because I was carrying you, my son. No. That carrying you comes from you actually fighting your battle and the Most High protecting you. We have to stop this fantasy about how we think the Most High deals with us. So let's continue in 2 Ezra 3.
Con. 2 Ezra 3 and verse 21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed.
Now listen, even Ezra knew that there were two Adams. Adam in the beginning, and Christ was the second Adam. So the first Adam bearing a wicked heart. Adam had a wicked heart. Everybody, the greatest of our people had a wicked heart. And the only way they were able to ascend to being greater is through work, dedication, sacrifice. So for sisters who are beating themselves up saying this is not for me because I still have negative thoughts, no. Every sister that's come through these doors have been overwhelmed, have had thoughts to quit, I should have took the blue pill instead of the red pill. Listen, every thought that you've had has gone through the head and the mind of every other sister that's ever served the Most High. The only difference is one chooses to continue to fight and the other one doesn't. Every one of us had a wicked heart. So, from Adam to present day, we're all dealing with that wicked spirit now. So because of that, the only way to neutralize that wicked spirit is through teaching, is through establishing a surrounding and an environment that's conducive to serving the Most High, coupled with that sister's desire to study, and that husband's desire to teach. A lot of times as husbands, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to yell at a problem. The problem is this: we have a spirit that needs teaching and development. We want to raise our voice, yell, and think that's the problem. Think that's the solution. All that does is heightens the problem. The reality is, if I understand that my wife by nature has a wicked heart, my child by nature has a wicked heart, maybe it will continue to teach me, and when I get home, I can't be slothful. When I go home, I have to make it a point to teach instead of reacting. Because y'all get classes that are handcrafted for your specific issue. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
For those of us who are close enough in the body, you can tell by the first 10 minutes who was talking about. Am I right or wrong? You're like, this is Brother X. Let's listen in. Listen, that's the point. But if we understand that this is how we operate to keep each other strong, why don't y'all do it at home? Because y'all are too focused on how she disrespected me and she pissed me off. So now we're going, there's consequences and repercussions for you pissing me off. Let me show you in scripture. While you have to serve me. And we go into this serving, serve. I'm like, okay, master, I have to serve you. Lord. But can we go, Milish? Can we please go into other verses to deal with why I'm being this way today? Why am I saying this? Because this is even what young captains do to young brothers. I got the new red boy on. Now I'm sitting back here stepping on toes. I got that red patch. That means I got permission to go into you know what.
He's wicked,
because I got that red patch.
He's wicked.
That's for our camp. The red patch means you can officially start correcting people now. But that doesn't mean I'm supposed to just roll on people. I'm supposed to teach and inspire and develop. That's what makes a man worth following. And if we don't let brothers just roll on brothers, why should we let brothers just roll on sisters? Y'all have to teach. But if I can come into a situation and understand that by nature she's wicked, by nature I'm wicked. When I hear that, I'm like, this is a fucking big ass challenge. Really, it's really more of a challenge than anything. I have to sit back and help sculpt a spirit from this flabby clay to this sharp, strong spirit in Christ.
It's rehabilitation.
And this is why we don't rush. We don't tell brothers just to get a bunch of ribs. Because it's hard as hell to sit back here and build a spirit from scratch. And when I mean build, all we're doing is trying to set a structure up and hope and pray that that structure and the teaching helps develop a person. We don't control anything. So, let's continue in Second Ezra.
God. Second
We're
Ezra.
in no way
Chapter
closing this class. But keep going. I'm sorry.
In verse 21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome.
And was what?
And was overcome.
Because that wickedness, he never overcame that wicked heart that was in him. He failed. So what is he showing you? This is the challenge that each and every one of us have. We are born with negative. We're born with wickedness. We're born with negative tendencies. And the challenge, remember we read about Christ, how Christ said he overcame death?
Right.
How do you overcome death? Christ overcame the wickedness in him. Because the sin is what imputes death. So our job is to sit back here and overcome that wicked nature that's inside of us.
Let me explain the wickedness. The wickedness is simply, I don't want to sit here and be on the cross. I don't want to sit here and die and bleed.
Yep.
I know my life's mission is to do A, B, C. I have to be a sacrifice for my nation. It sounds good until you guys sit here and do
Well,
it.
I'm going to say this. Before his life was to be the sacrifice for his nation, he had to master the law.
Exactly.
Don't forget, at 12 years old, what was he doing?
And the law-
Remember, everybody went to the Passover and went back home, and somehow Mama didn't realize her baby boy wasn't in the car
What's your
on the
house
carriage ride.
What's shine?
It was a 2-day. How do you miss him after a day's journey, bro? Nobody had snacks. Needed snacks. Let me stop. What am I saying? Christ was at the temple teaching people at 12. So by the time he was 30 years old, he had mastered the law.
The fundamentals, yeah.
He mastered the law by 30. Then he got baptized, and the Spirit of the Most High was on him. Then he had the next level of his development, which was what? Was the dedicating his life for the people. That was the second phase of what it took for him to be perfect in Christ. Once you sit back here and master the semantics of the law, then you got to sit back and live it for the people around you. And that ended up forcing him to die on the cross for our people. But first he had to master the law and control his discipline, his flesh, by being humble and obedient in the law. And then once he learned the law, he had to be obedient in the servitude of the body.
Which is a different beast.
It's the next level. And this is why Christ kept saying that the Pharisees were hypocrites, because they knew the law, but they weren't willing. They were too selfish to go to the next level
They mastered
and
the law.
lose their life
Understand?
for the body, because that was the next level. My point is this: what are we saying? That everybody has that wicked heart that they have to contend to even get in the position to go to the next level. But this is what we're having to sit back here and teach our families, teach our wives, teach our children. We have to give them all the necessary equipment
Tools
to learn to master themselves. And this is what you have to have the mind when you're going home and your sister or your wife doesn't have a clean house, or doesn't sit back here and can't just get it right, can't get her head together. It sit back here and has an ill capacity or is limited in what she cannot. He better not be no he's out here. What else she
You gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
not allowed, people. But the point is,
What kind of camp is that?
That's a bad camp. My point is this. What I'm saying is, can we learn to take that mindset on? That my wife is sick, she has a negative heart, and it's my job to help teach her until she is strong and supplied enough to overcome these issues.
To mend that
I know this for a fact. And I was young, and I was guilty of this. When I was young, I would only teach when it was bad. I get bad news and bad reports out. When I get bad news, or she was out of order, let me go in the scriptures and cut you. That's not developing that spirit. You have to get to the point where you're teaching your rib, whether it's a problem or it's a light day. That means you have to force the culture of teaching and development in your house, because that's the only way. Listen, look at what we're seeing in 2nd Ezra 3. Wickedness is in the root of us. And this is why schools and churches and camps are so important. Because the only way to really develop men is to have brothers around the Bible consistently, around strength consistently. The classes help, but what also helps develop a person? It's the culture.
Actually, yeah.
The culture of the school develops a person just as much as classes.
Cool.
Am I right or wrong?
School culture and superintendents.
It's the management. That's why I said the culture is based off the management.
Yeah.
The systems that are created to develop people is what keeps the integrity of the camp alive.
True.
If we can see that that's how a camp stays afloat, we know we don't have that much time with our ribs. And because we don't, that means your job doesn't stop at home. Half the problem is we get home and we want to take a break. We're looking for a break at home, and then when there's problems, we get angry that there's problems. And we wonder why things aren't operating up to snuff. They're not operating up to snuff because the culture hasn't been digested yet. We can sit back here and be patient enough with brothers and give them time and to develop, but we can't do that in our own homes. Because the truth is, as we're going to read, it's not a concerted effort enough to sustain the structure at home. And I'm not here saying you got to be at the home 24/7, making breakdowns for your rib. What I'm saying is when you get home, you can't be about you. We said this around 3 weeks ago in the class. The realities of an Israelite marriage. The reality is you got to make sure home is the embodiment of what the Spirit of Christ is, just like we try to make the embodiment of the Spirit of Christ amongst the body. We have to neutralize. That's the only way to even start to neutralize and corner that negative that's in each other and the negative that's in your family, the negatives in your ribs and your children. How hard do you work to teach and set the proper environment? How do you push sisters? Do you push your rib towards spiritual sisters? Or she around Jake folks 24/7? Cousins and aunties and familia. That ain't talking the Bible. That makes things even more difficult when they're trying to sit back here and grow and learn the Most High.
Mixing environments.
Hey, that's the point. This is the whole point about how hard are we working to create a spiritual environment at home to assist the sisters in fighting their battle.
Is that also the hedge?
Well, it's hedge, but it is a hedge. But the hedge is a system. It's a structure. And that structure and that hedge is based upon how hard you want to work to keep the hedge. You can build a hedge awesome as hell, but guess what? Coyotes are coming to beat on that damn hedge the next day. That damn raggedy ass fence we put up. Animals, wild beasts, oxen. They're trying to bark. Every day there's negative attacking this hedge. A lot of times the thought of a hedge is a one-time thing. How we look at a hedge is a one-time thing. I taught her. I counseled her. But the problem is the hedge has to be daily. But the only reason the hedge isn't done daily is because we're looking for a break daily. And we only deal in counsel and bring out the Bible when it's like the sky's falling.
End of the world scenarios.
End of the world. Then we're counseling. Then we're raising our voice.
When you look at a garden, the people that are gardeners that have a true love for developing their garden, they're every single day catching every little sprout of every weed. They're sitting there putting the fertilizer. They're talking to the plants. They're sitting here planning extra structures to make sure their garden produces at a certain rate. But then there's people that they'll do with their garden once every 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then you got to do a lot of.
And one of our rodents is sitting back here chewing on the damn tomatoes out.
Yeah.
And while the weeds are taking all the nutrients from the actual plants.
Exactly. In the culture of the soil isn't the proper culture of the soil, so the plants don't develop properly. And that's the same thing in our homes.
And this is what I'm saying. This is why brothers you don't have time to go hang out with your pals and buddies out in the world. You don't have time to run the streets. There's only so much time in the day, and what we do every day, we don't have time to run around and do what we want to do. We have to sit back and do what's necessary to continue to nurture, helping your wife and your family to eliminate that wickedness that's in the house, that's in them.
And this is the problem. We get mad that the tree produces bad fruit.
Yep.
Because like that scripture about the parable of the fig tree that said the fruit was evil.
Yep.
I mean, the fruit wasn't really properly developed.
Yep.
Didn't taste good. It wasn't properly developed. But listen, Christ said, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna tear this tree down. I'm gonna rebuild it.
Redung it.
I'm gonna redung this tree." He took the time to redung. If it's not producing the fruits you want, then you have to redung that.
And when you redung it, you're starting over and you're giving that attention again. You still got to give it the attention. Now the thing is this: it can't just be we're going out to date night. That's not attention. Eating lunch and meals is not attention. That's not the attention that's going to be necessary to feed their spirit.
It's a band-aid.
Now I'm not saying don't go out and do nothing, but I'm saying that's not the answer. The answer is getting in the book and learning to listen. The reality is this: didn't y'all marry into a biblical family? Why is the answer always some Jake shit? Why is the answer going downtown, dancing and dinner and dancing? Listen, why is the solution always something that's behind that? That's the sentence. I don't know if that's other like sides of town, but when I came out here, everybody was like, I don't know why. Why is everybody saying at the back end? But I was still like, what does this mean? Anyway, listen. Maybe it's changed and morphed like in the later 2000s, but in the early 2000s, it was I would ever. Anyway, so we're still dealing with, if this is supposed to be an Israelite marriage, and shouldn't that be the foundation of the union? Shouldn't it be Bible first, class first, then family, whatever later? Shouldn't that be an everyday thing? And that is the culture that has to be initiated from the husband. But the problem is, and I know this came from years of mistakes. Because when listen, I'm not even going to blame it on the tiredness. But a lot of times, for me, earlier in the time, it was, I'm home, I'm going to get some rest and get ready for this marathon tomorrow. It was a marathon every day. Every day was Nipsey Hussle. It was a marathon. And the mindset was, when I get home, I'm going to get myself ready for the next thing. And I was lucky and fortunate enough that my rib actually believed in the first place. And was able to weather through and fight. But my answer to you is, if you want to be better than what I did, you got to put the teaching in and the work every day. And you have to show your wife from your efforts that the only thing that matters is the Bible. Once we get the book in, then we can enjoy ourselves. You know what's crazy? Listen, isn't that what you do when you're teaching the kids something? You can't eat whatever damn Jello pop you want, Jello pop, whatever little damn snack you want at night, or some junk food until you eat your dinner.
Yes, true.
You got to sit back and eat your vegetables before you sit back here and get whatever snack. That's no different than us. Also, like, you're not going to sit back here and get a break until you sit back and get this work done. This is what he teaches us. This is what we have to initiate with our family. My advice, I'm telling y'all, is don't just counsel when there's bad shit happening. Don't just pull the Bible out because she sat back here and was out of pocket with her mouth and said some off shit.
She'll view the Bible as a belt.
As a weapon, that's the point.
And you're going to create a bad perspective.
I'm telling you.
You're going to create it's bad training.
And that's the point is, the Bible has to be the source of strength. A galvanizing place.
Yeah.
Not a fearful thing, or we're going to have a 2-hour council if you out of order. It can't be that way. That's one of my best advice I can tell y'all, on top of understanding that all of us come into this with a wicked heart that the Most High never removed. And that is what the whole battle that every one of us have on earth is. How can I overcome my flesh? And then once I can overcome my flesh, then I can sit back and ascend and be completely selfless and be a servant to the body. Yes.
So be proactive instead of reactive so that he can mitigate or minimize any issues that are going to come forth.
And just teaching because it's time to teach. Giving and teaching the Bible and establishing the house under the parameters of the Bible because it's the right thing to do. This is how we're supposed to operate our families from the beginning. Read on in 2nd Esdras.
God, 2nd Esdras chapter 3 and verse 21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
Yep, that's all of us. Read on.
Thus infirmity was made permanent.
That infirmity, that negative, that's inside of all of us was made permanent. So instead of me sitting back here and getting angry at my rib, what I'm angry at, I just don't like the type of negative she has. Because the Most High doesn't look at us that way, does he? Negative is negative. And if I can understand, this is just the negative she has. As teachers, we have to detach ourselves from emotion, whether I'm a young captain or I'm a husband. The challenge is, can I go home and not take this person's sickness personal?
Yeah.
This is just her wickedness. I know it's easier said than done, but it still has to be taught.
It's her disease.
And you know, I have to detach how her sickness makes me feel. If I'm going to properly develop this person, because we can do it for outside people, right or wrong. Sisters can do it for other sisters.
It's easy.
Oh yes, sis, all you gotta do is boom, boom, boom on this. But when you're at the house and your husband's vexing you, all of a sudden, oh, you can't hear nothing no more, and vice versa. I know that.
Yeah.
I understand that. But it doesn't change the fact that this is what we all have to work on. This is the battle.
You said this is the foundation.
This is why the class is called the Foundation of Order in Your Home. I got to come into my house knowing that there's sickness here. Half the time you want to come home and you want to get some sleep and shut it down and just relax. And that is the worst way of thinking you can do. Go home and keep your shoes on. For me, keeping my shoes on means I'm still a work guy. Everybody's different. When I take my shoes, I'm checking the hell out at. I'm checking out. I'm on planet Xanadu. I'm somewhere else out. I'm not home. But you got to do whatever you got to do to go home and still make it about the teaching. And this is something that, as young men, the truth, we weren't taught. It was a serve, woman, serve and serve some more. Be in order. And if she's wicked, then most I send you another one. Listen, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you how it used to be. And that, you know, the truth is that was just us being lazy. It was us being lazy and just thinking this servant relationship, it was just twisted. A wife is supposed to serve her husband, but you still got to earn that trust. And your works deserve that equal and earn that servitude. Your ability to teach gives you the right to sit back here and take the check. Your teaching and your sacrifice earns you the right to sit back here and be served. Not just because I'm a man. There was years ago, there was a brother, I'm not going to name his name. There was brothers that used to like, I'm not even going to do it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. It's not a bad thing. It's just not. It was just very immature. It wasn't wickedness. It wasn't like that.
One point. It's just primitive Israel, or Israel in the.
It was primitive, and that's the point.
So what we have to do is Israel has to always look at how can we perfect and better our school. No. How can we better our families? How can we better our young men?
Not change it. Because a lot of men come in here and they want to change things.
Well, I think we shouldn't do it anymore.
Like, okay, no, bro, you're not gonna, people say this, but they ain't never gave shit up.
Never lost.
Give shit up first. Then you will sit back here and have a better idea of what needs to go and what needs to stay.
Why this happened? Why that happened? Why are these structures here? When you give up your life, then you'll see why those structures are there.
And that's the point. And you can't make assumptions or ideas or these nifty ideas unless you're in the work. Do it. Then you can sit back and say, well, that has to stay.
Now it makes
sense. That has to stay. That might need to get worked on. This needs to stay, but that needs to get worked on. You can't make those conversations until you commit. Anyway, let's continue in 2nd Esdras. Well, I'm sorry. You had something to say. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
So, just a quick recap.
No, you good.
So the Most High allowed us to have a wicked heart, obviously, right? We are imprisoned in the flesh, and then we have to put the work in to break the flesh. And if we have to do that with ourselves, we must do it with our young men. We must do it with our children. We must do it with our wives. That means you're losing that fluff, intermission time, that repair time that we necessarily crave.
Because what you're starting to realize is the work it takes to develop men. The work it takes every day. Listen, a brother doesn't get fixed after one counsel. Do you?
Nope.
How many counsels have you seen brothers go through, repeatedly chipping away
Hundreds.
at this different levels of a man's sickness before you start getting headway into the development? It's the same thing with sisters. What people don't understand is if you want to put a house together, it's the little things you do every day versus this
10 hours.
all night counsel.
The 10-hour. We went through the scriptures for 10 hours.
Listen, that was another dumb thing we did back in the day. We're up here all night. Everybody's gassed the next day, and we think the spirit, that the demon was slayed. It wasn't slayed, bro.
I took the spirit off that. Okay.
This demon's.
Everybody got tired, bro. How about everybody got fucking tired?
And now there's another demon you're adding on to the next morning.
Yeah.
That you got to deal with. How about you deal and teach and counsel a little bit every day? How about that? That makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? How about 30 minutes to an hour, open the Bible, teach the Word, and you can start maintenancing problems and working on issues as they come versus everything is whack-a-mole.
Because we're extreme.
That's how Israel operates at home, is this spiritual whack-a-mole. Problem! 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 You ever see like all the like little pizza spots and saw whack-a-mole?
Monkey pops up.
Like it was this purple beast. I don't know what it was. It wasn't purple. No, it was this creature. You gotta hit it. Anyway, and then as the game progresses, it keeps coming out. Like, but that's how Israel operates in dealing with problems. You don't pull out your Bible until there's attitudes, or until there's crying, or until there's rebellion.
We're gonna read the Bible today.
Or all of a sudden the meal ain't cooked, or all of a sudden now we got a counsel. All of a sudden, there's attitude in the house. I think it's time for a counsel. I go, oh, no shit, Sherlock. Let's go in the Bible now. What you knew there was a problem leading up to this, and you ignored it because you want to watch television. Y'all know it. You know there's some negative a brewing, and you choose to ignore it until it's full-fledged war. So you have to do it. Once again, I'm trying to show y'all the mindset you have to do to start circumventing these problems. But in order to do that mentally, you gotta realize I work my job in the world or for the camp, and when I go home, guess what? There's another job. And if you commit yourself to that job consistently enough, then you'll have peace.
You gotta,
or at least reasonable peace.
Like you said,
Ain't gonna be peace.
Incrementally give those scriptures, because you gotta build that tolerance or that attention span to the scriptures. That's true.
But you know what? I want to do that. I got to do it so consistently. I know how much the sister can take, and how then if she starts to doze off or start to look around, you know that once that pisses you off, because that used to piss me off. She don't give a shit about the Bible. That's not the truth. How about you thought that? She don't give a shit about the Lord. I'm gonna close this book. She ain't the spirit. I'm gonna see. That's why I ain't gonna teach her tomorrow. Okay, that's really what you just didn't want to teach her anyway, and you were looking for a reason to give up. And y'all know that's how it is. You know it. So anyway, bro, let's continue, man. Where are we at? Ezra's, right?
God. 2nd Ezra 3 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Thus infirmity was made permanent.
So are you saying, and I hate to say that, are you saying that after the commitment to the body on a resource level,
Yes.
after commitment to the body on a tangible, conversational, teaching, day-to-day, pastoral, shepherd level,
Yep.
I have to also be a shepherd in my house.
And that's the point. It's more work.
I'm also a shepherd in my home.
And that can't, it doesn't matter how tired you are. It doesn't matter how long of a day you have. That can't matter. Because the truth is this, your home is a reflection of the work you put together. And the truth is, your house is a reflection of the Most High has given you an opportunity to work with. Everybody says, everybody talks about, I don't have no time. I'm not on the podium, so I got to wait on my time to teach. Bullshit. You can teach at home. You can work on your craft every day at home. You can sit back here and work on your breakdowns and teach your rip. And the more you teach it, the better you'll get at it. That's who you practice on. People before they start teaching the Bible, they just won't do anything until they get here. They wonder why the lights are on this. What do I do with my hands?
Second nature.
For those of y'all who know, y'all know. Like this. You put them down. You put them down, Ricky.
What do I do with these?
Yeah. Because I'm on television. What do I do? I'm on screen. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading in that stress.
God, verse 22.
Golly.
And the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root.
Malignity of
So that negative. Listen, this is why you have to teach every day. There's a deep-rooted negative in each and every one of us. And a lot of times we touch over issues and expect things to get fixed because we taught once or we taught twice. We don't see the example of the people around you. And this is a lot of negative and a lot of layers of negative that we're working through to get to the finished product of a person. Read on.
God. So that the good departed away and the evil abode still.
He's just telling us the magnitude of work that we have in front of us. The reason we're going to this verse is to show how hard. I need some more of that verse up. But keep going.
Oh, God. Verse 23. So the time has passed away. And
No, that's enough. You're right. That's all I want for that one. That's enough. It just shows.
I'll say one more point. Malignity.
I'll get your
And people
question.
have cancer, say you have malignant tumors, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Meaning what? These things are going to continue to spread if
Yes.
you don't arrest it.
Got it. What was your question, sir?
So is our talents teaching?
Well, that's some of our talents.
Because yeah.
But you don't even know if it's a talent until you do it every day. You know what I mean? Like whatever skill a person has, people can say, yeah, this guy's a natural. But how much of a person's talent is natural and how much is you have a little ability in something and you keep working on it until it becomes more well-rounded and more skilled and more precise. That's really what a talent is. You have a little sliver of ability and you keep nurturing it and you build on it.
And in Christ, men are handing you the different keys and angles to perfecting your talents. You're getting the previously, which is the body of men that are governing, and they're investing in you to build whatever skill set you have.
And for those of us who tell ourselves that we're not natural teachers, the Bible says He gives to all men liberally. For every sister who says they're not meant for this, Most High gives to all women liberally.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough, you will learn the spirit of whatever you're weak in. If I'm a young sister and I wasn't raised to really learn how to be good at being a housewife, then guess what? There's sisters here you can sit back here and call and mimic and learn and follow and trace to get that situation. But you know our cop out is, I'm not naturally good at it. How many of y'all have said that? That's called pride. If I say I'm not naturally good at something, it's because I'm not willing to mimic somebody and follow somebody who's better than me in what I'm not good at.
So you saying like as far as in like putting in the effort, right?
It's about
Not
effort,
even
but it's not even effort. Because sometimes people will put in effort their way.
and not follow.
And shit don't work. It's about, can I sit back here and put in effort and follow the person that I need to follow and mimic them. That's what Moses talks about. We're supposed to trace our examples. We're supposed to trace wisdom. That's the level of work that a person has to do to change. So we know the individual has to change. The brother or sister has to change. But can I create if I'm a husband, can I create the atmosphere and the spirit at home to motivate a person to change? Can the person around me see the change in me to make the other person want to change? Because that's what it takes to change. You have to create an environment of hope to make a person say, I can do it. If this person can do it, then I can do it. That's what a school, that's what a camp is about. It's the same thing you do at home. This is what Moses said. If you can't sit back here and take care of your family and put your house in order, you can't put the house of the Lord in order. You can't do the job here. It's the same thing. Can I create the spirit of motivation at home? Can I inspire people to be better than what they are? Am I willing to teach and inspire? It's the combination. And what we're showing you today is what we're up against. It's the level of negative that's in our people. Let that go. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 57 now, I think. No, is it 57? No, it was 55.
55 is over everything.
Yep. No, I don't want 55. That's talking about when we were eating children during the sieges. Give me 56.
God. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. The tender and delicate women among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness.
All that meant was that our women at one time were adaptable, and they were humble, and they were willing to follow and serve.
Moldable.
They were moldable. That delicateness, you know what? I'm going to serve. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to support my husband. Read on.
Her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom.
And the Most High is saying the curse is kicked into effect. And now you have an entire movement since the damn 50s to strengthen and empower women to where they don't need to serve a man at all. And we're dealing with our people's natural wicked inclinations on top of societal changes that has switched the dynamic of how the house is run.
Really?
So there's a lot of negative that we're sitting back here and having to fight against to put a home in order, to put a family together.
Our personal flaws and social engineering. It's the double battle
and
now.
the curses. Yeah,
and
exactly.
the curses. It's a double battle now because we didn't obey the Most High as a nation.
So we're just explaining that at one time our women were humble and willing to serve. Read on.
God. And toward her son and toward her daughter.
Yeah.
So now that wife has that hatred towards her children because more than likely that father left. Now they're going to take it out on that son.
Yep.
And that beef and strife towards the daughters. Read on.
And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet.
Mm-hmm.
And toward her children which she bare. For she shall eat them.
Well, no, that's verse 57 about the sieges, because there's many times when.
But that's the spiritual thing.
I know.
The eating on a spiritual level is us consuming them because our children are our sacrifices.
Yep.
You're gonna sacrifice. You're gonna do the right thing.
It's not just consuming them by using their social security number out to get apartments and credits.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. That's a real damn thing.
They're
And
consuming.
when the kid is 15, that's fresh. That's a fresh credit card number. That's a fresh credit card. That's a fresh apartment rent. That's a fresh cable bill.
Oh no, I was gonna say, there was a lady who was talking about how she actually did the math about how if she had 6 children from one man, she'd only get $680 a month. But if she had 6 different baby daddies, she'd get $2,040. She literally, and then at the end of it, she was like, "Oh, why don't you have 6 baby daddies?" Like it was
Yep.
really like, it was just horrible.
That's
It's-
horrible.
It's making it business.
Like it was wisdom.
I'm making that money. That's trash. That's a trash solution right there.
Knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom.
God. So we got this, and this verse is just showing how disconnected the family structure is. Give me Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1 through 4 also. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 4. Verse 1, I'm sorry, through 4.
God.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1 reads, how is the gold become dim?
How is the Most High looked at us as a nation as the gold standard, the city on the hill? He says, how is our nation as a whole turned from gold to dim, to a weakened caliber? Read on.
How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed?
Read on.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Listen, we are the Most High sanctuary, and the foundation of the sanctuary have been thrown out in the street like they're nothing. That we were that special seed to him, and now we're just out here in the street on a low level. Read on.
Verse 2. The precious sons of Zion.
I'm talking about Israel. Read on.
Comparable to fine gold.
At one time, when we're following the Most High's laws and commandments, we're fine gold.
Yep.
Read on.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
We have diminished from gold. We were gold. Now we're sitting back here in them dirt clay, and Navajo clay out. That's nothing. I'm not knocking that one. I'm rooting. All right? I'm just thinking of some like clay that we can think about. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking. I know. I've looked at the entire group, and then you were like this. What are you saying about the Navajo nation? It was his response that made me lock on his response. Right? So we're talking about gold to earthen pitchers. Okay, we didn't say regular clay out.
Don't you point on my trap?
How dare stop talking about that nation? Okay, we're Israelites. I'm Reuben, so we're kind of in there a little bit. Let's keep going.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
Come.
The work of the hands of the potter.
We've diminished from gold to clay pot. Read on.
Even the sea monsters draw out the beasts.
He's talking about the women, our women. He said that the beasts and the animals down the ocean will sit back here and feed their children, and give their children milk. Read on.
Even the sea monsters draw out the breasts. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel.
He says our women have gotten to the point. We're talking about this as a society and as a nation. Our women are so consumed in their own lives that their children come last. They're so focused on getting a man, living their life, that the children don't get what they're nurturing. They don't get their need. Because the truth is, if you're going to be a mother, you learn that your life is now over.
Yeah.
If you're going to be humble. But if you got that urge to still have hot girl summers and you got children out, you're officially a sea monster. Yeah. You're officially a Leviathan type. I don't know. You can pick your sea monster creature.
Godzilla.
Now listen, I can't even give that kind of props out. You're a platypus or something like that. Get out of here. We're going to go lower level animal. We're going to go some regular sea creature out. You know what I mean? It's something that's not with the same esteem as, come on, man, Godzilla's a shit out. It's a regular fishy out.
Oh, regular fish.
If you sitting back here running the streets, living your life, you still want to do you, that means you got some sea monster elements in you. It's the truth. Because once you have your child's the only thing that matters at this particular point. It means whatever energy you got to damn grasp and fight so your child can have some food, that don't just mean breast milk. It means get off your ass and work. That means keep the house clean. Keep the structure. Don't sit back here and do the pillow trick in the bed because you want to sleep and the baby's up. Who's done that pillow trick? The pillow trick is when you're in the bed, the baby's moving and active, and you put the pillow on the side so the baby don't roll over, right? Because you want to catch some Z's. I've heard sisters do it. I'm telling you, and they put the child last. Because you know it's very difficult when you're tired and the child wants to run around. That's hard, man. There's no getting around it. When you're tired, the baby wants to be up all night, and you got to go to work in the morning. And you got to do what you got to do to make sure that child is nurtured. Then you go down and go to sleep, and then you handle your business. That's what being selfless is. That sea monster is that person that wants to find rig ways to get 100% sleep. You're fresh as hell, and the baby's a snotty nose and got nasty clothes on, and you look like 100%, like $1 million.
Gucci.
A mom is beat up and tired and exhausted, and their kids look like they got the best. That's how you know you're doing your job, when you put yourself last. All right or wrong? So, let's continue.
And the daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness.
Mosiah is referring to our women like the ostrich and the sea monster. In the wild, the ostrich lays an egg and just hops off. And you know, they might put a little dirt over it, some branches or whatever the hell. Well, they leave that egg exposed for jackals, predators, all kind of crazy animals that are hungry. What kind of mom will sit back here, have a child, and just roll off and let it fend for themselves? Our people. And because this is in our people's nature, is why we have to teach, why we have to develop, why we have to commit ourselves to the education of our families. Not just when they're off. You have to teach people from the ground up. Develop from the ground up. Teach when it's good, teach when it's bad, teach. I want to go to this verse now. Hold that. Go to yep, that's the one. 2 Timothy 4:2. 4:2 and 3.
Chapter 4.
Okay. No, it's just 4 and 3. I don't know why I wanted 3, man.
2 and 3?
Just 2. Just 2. Just 2.
2 Timothy 4 and verse 2. Preach the word. Be instant, in season, out of season.
You can't just teach when it's convenient to you. You can't just teach when a person is negative. You can't just teach when your rib is negative. You have to teach when you feel like teaching. You have to teach when you're tired. You have to teach when you're stressed. You have to teach. And if you initiate that spirit, then you're going to get the most out of your rib when she has to fight her battle. Or at least you've done everything you could in your power. Now the Most High will defend you. Now if they end up not listening and locking in, then the Most High will give you what you need and replace you. But as a husband, you have to put all the energy you can into teaching and developing. That's what it takes. Not just yelling and screaming. Okay, but the point I went to this verse is the being instant, in season, and out of season. How dedicated you have to be to this process. How dedicated you have to be to the establishing the spiritual system at home. It can't just be cooking and cleaning and that's it. Okay, and physicality, obviously. Let that go. We're gonna jump now to. Did we finish verse 4? No, we don't need verse 4. No, we do. Verse 4.
God, Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 4 reads, the tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it unto them.
Listen, the mother ain't giving them the bread, and the men aren't giving the bread either, because everybody is consumed in their own life. You know what a good example is this? The husband and wife are too busy yelling and screaming at each other, and they don't give their mind to the children and what they need. The husband and wife are so busy arguing and posturing for position and explaining how unhappy they are, they don't sit back here and come out of themselves and give that child what they need. That's not just about food. That's about spiritual nourishment. This is why before the children come, during the time of the children, you got to teach and develop so that that wife can sit back here and make it about those children. You got to teach and develop so they're clear enough in the mind so that they're not lacking spiritually and physically. And that parent's presence is there. But just know this much. If that mother's putting all that energy into them children, she's going to need a refueling when you get home.
Recharge.
Just like y'all know y'all are. You ever counsel you just so your whole your fingers are zapped, your mind is, your body is zapped, you have nothing in the tank? I know that feeling. But when you have that feeling, guess what? You got to teach. Because if you don't teach at home, what are you telling her when she's beat?
It's okay.
That she can stop giving. That's what you're teaching. Listen, everybody's operating on everybody's team no sleep. What are you talking about? You think dealing with children is easy? Watching those damn Yo Gabba Gabba damn shows all damn day long, that's just hell on earth, That nigga in an orange hat, that was the worst shit ever, Them kids loved it, That was Listen, it's television, it's snack time, it's wiping asses, it's going out in the park, watching them run, having them paint colored stick figures. And you gotta hype it up like it's the best thing since sliced bread all I'm saying is that's work too. That's work if they're doing it right. They're giving their mind and their spirit to their children. Dealing with the kids, especially when they're young, temper tantrums, their emotions, it's exhausting. And then when they're exhausted, you got to go home and teach her and develop her spirit too. You can't say, I'm tired. Well, then she's tired too. Are you going to sit back and put the time in? If not, don't trip when she trips. Oh, it's wickedness, Oh, shit, there's a lot of wickedness going around in Israel, There's wickedness every damn day. Stop, Let's keep going. So we have that so far, right? We understand this, right?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at? We finished verse 4, right?
Come.
Let that go and go to Proverbs 29 and 18.
Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18 reads.
Ready?
Yep.
Proverbs chapter 29 verse 18 reads, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. What does that mean? If you don't show your rib at home the proper vision of how to push past her flesh, then you know what? She's going to fall apart. If she can't see you keep it together, what's going to make her keep it together? Because keeping it together for every person is different. If I have a woman that has a controlling nature, then I have to outwork that controlling natured person so she can learn to trust. If I have a person and
when we say outwork, because people don't know, some
Okay,
brothers, young men don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Outwork means that my consistency in my policies, what I say and my actions,
what I say and what I do have to match.
Are more skillful.
Yeah.
I'm more skillful.
And more consistent.
If she's complaining about the finances, I have to become more detailed and articulate in how we organize and structure and then pay these certain bills.
Lights can't be cutting off and we getting red bills every goddamn day.
I have to be sharper and better than my wife, or in the realm of men that challenge you all damn day. You're going to be officer of 50-100, brother get mad. Oh, well, this brother's challenging me, huh? Well, because you're not skillful.
Yep. That's
you got a lot of skill.
If we're going to be honest, this is why men challenge other men.
No, I don't know why these brothers don't respect me. Because
they see bullshit.
Because brothers outpace you, or brothers might be sharper than you in different elements. So you know what? Because men are sharper than you in different elements. Men in their mind, by nature, I could do it.
Well, can I say this?
I'm not submit to this, brother.
This is mankind by nature.
It's not just women.
This is mankind and womankind.
Come.
If they see their husband can't handle his check, can't balance his checkbook, why is she gonna give you the damn money?
I'm not gonna.
This is the truth. But this is really what. Oh, she's out of order. She's out the spirit. Really, is it out the spirit, or you don't know what balancing your money is, bro? You don't know how to operate your finances. It's the same thing with men in the camp. These brothers don't respect me. Well, they see inconsistencies. When a person sees inconsistencies, what do you think a person's going to sit back here and think? Then the only way you can run your house is do as I say, not as I do. Damn it. How well does that shit go? Shalom, brother. Hey, babe. I'm going through the motions. I'm going to be the Israelite wife. That's what you get. Either you outperform through your actions, or you get people playing Israelite. Am I lying, or am I telling the truth? This is what everybody wants to sit back here and lead and run the house and Be the big dog and get the big piece of chicken. And what does it take to get it? You better show. You don't got to be perfect, but you got to show the ability to operate in all these arenas to earn trust and respect.
And this is why
We understand that in the realm of men. You don't think it's the same at home? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying this is
You're
why
saying it perfect.
the household is a reflection of the man. Because all the man's spirits yield and conform to my will. But when the Most High in Christ says you need to yield and conform to the will and direction and skill set of your directors to better your household, that you yielding yourself to men that are more skillful in finance, you yielding yourself to men that are more skillful than you in health, maybe.
Yep.
You yielding yourself to men that are more skillful in work pace. That will the effect of you yielding yourself will trickle down in your home. Holy Spirit will see, okay, this guy's he's incrementally getting better. I better grow with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I better grow with him before we grow apart.
That's how you inspire the person next to you. You inspire the person you love by learning how to continue to push yourself in the arenas that you need to push yourself in. Because the truth is, if we're going to be honest about the nature of people, people really only change when you outwork them. When you can do something better than them. And people only really respect you when you can sit back here and you show a person day to day that you're growing and you're evolving. Right or wrong? We can sit back here and say, oh, this person is negative and he's looking at me messed up, he don't respect me or she don't respect me. You don't think there is a reason? You just think I'm just hating because it just hates in me? And I just hate. I hate your shirt. I hate the shoes you're wearing. And that's not the root of hate.
Yeah.
I hate that ugly smirk you got on your face when you walk around here. That's not what the hate is based upon. It's the things I don't do makes things harder on me. The things that I can do that, but listen, you want me to do all these changes, but I don't see you change it all. Is that not what makes people frustrated?
I'm the man, though. I'm the man.
And but that's where you get the chaos. You want a person to sit back here and serve to the utmost servitude, but you don't want to change. Listen, I'm not saying this is easy, but this keeps the husband humble and it keeps the wife humble. But the truth, if I want somebody, if I have demands on my wife, I better damn sure be willing to fill the gaps where the gaps need to be filled. There has to be at least a willingness to do this. If I expect a proper response back to me, because that's what it is in the realm of men. If I want respect, can I outwork you? Can I run circles around your conduct? Am I more consistent than you in these arenas? Then I can come around and I can teach you. If you can't do that, you're going to always have that challenging spirit around you. And what you're going to get is a person is following orders and going through the motions. You're not going to get that genuine respect. Genuine respect is earned. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You can get paper titles all damn day long. Anyway, where are we at? We're in Proverbs, right? 29 and 18, right? Yeah. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18 from the top reads, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Where there is no vision, the people perish, and this is the point. This is why a husband has to lead from the front. There has to be a vision of consistency, a standard that's being set, a tone that's being established. Once that tone is established, now you give somebody something to follow. If your wife sees you go to the book for every issue, she's going to go to the book for every issue. If she sees you venting and cooling down by reading the Bible, then what's she going to do? What's she going to do when she needs to sit back and clear her mind? She's going to do what you do. But if you don't set the tone, she's not going to set the tone. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Listen, and as we're realizing, everything is hard work. Most I don't give you nothing easy. Because nothing that's worth getting comes easy to anybody. Read on.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
So you have to keep the law, and you have to set the tone
Can I make a point?
and establish the vision.
And-
It's both.
Come.
So,
And he that keepeth the law, meaning the law symbolic for it, or the law meaning the disciplines,
mhm.
the structures, you're going to be happy because guess what? Down the line, your house is going to perform the way you want to. Your brother's going to perform the way it needs to.
Done.
You kept the disciplines, so you get the benefit of those disciplines.
Done. So now let's go to Amos 3:1. Somebody else give me Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha 25:1.
3 and 1.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 1 reads. You ready?
Yep.
Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you.
Amos 3:3.
Amos, you said, oh, Salakia, 3 and 3?
I said 3:3.
Come, Salakia. Amos chapter 3 and verse 3 reads, can two walk
I said
together?
3:1. Salakia. You know, I saw it on the page and I just thought it came out. I guess it didn't. 3 and 3. How about that? Read that.
Come. Amos chapter 3 and verse 3 reads, can two walk together except they be agreed?
And the question is no. Well, the answer is no. Can two walk together unless they be agreed? And the answer is no. But as we're talking, the whole purpose behind this class is to show how you can get people to be agreed. The thought pattern is that I can sit back here and give you orders, and that's how there becomes an agreement. Agreement comes from the tone that's being set. Agreement comes from how much you live it and how consistent you are in living it will start setting the tone for people to following it. The person has to see it, then they follow it, then what they follow becomes them. And that's how the two people start to agree. That's how you mesh and meld two people into one. Okay? Let that verse go and go to Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha 25:1.
Ecclesiasticus 25 and verse 1. In three things I was beautified, and stood up beautiful both before the Most High and man.
Three things the Most High looked at, it was beautiful. Okay? Meaning the finished product is beautiful. Read on.
The unity of brethren,
Mm-hmm.
the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together.
Each of those three, whether it's the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agree together, comes from years of work, years of dedication. Not only does that wife have to learn to consistently submit, but that husband has to set an example for a wife to learn to consistently follow. It's not just this wife has to submit and a man can be a chieftain at the house barking orders. It doesn't work that way. And it also doesn't mean the husband got to be busting suds 24/7 either. That's not the answer either. The answer is the husband has to learn to be the pace setter and the pulse of the family. The spiritual pulse of the family. The motivation of the family. The engine and the motivation of the family can't be the wife alone if you expect the wife to learn to lock in to you. Because the question is, what is she locking into?
That's the real
Chaos?
That's the real question.
What is she locking into? Confusion?
Irresponsibility.
Hustles and money schemes and angles? Shortcuts?
Dumb
Is
ideas.
that the leadership that you're having to follow? A lack of accountability? Inconsistency? So it's not about washing dishes per se, but what am I showing? What is my lifestyle and action presenting and teaching to the person that's supposed to be feeding off of my spirit? Does the wife see dedication, consistency, the same guy every day? Or is he yelling today, cussing tomorrow, crying the next day, smiling the day after that? What kind of shit is that,
It's weirdo.
What kind of example are you showing?
I'm all.
I just can't stop crying.
I'm like.
And tomorrow you're angry. You know what?
Yeah, I love you. I love you so
Yeah,
much.
I love you, babe.
I
Hey,
just
babe.
love
Hey,
you.
babe, I love you. What is
doing?
this? Hey, babe. What am I trying to say? If I show consistency, I give my wife something to follow
Gravitate to.
and gravitate to. Listen, if your wife sees you when you're tired and you're pushing through, it gives her the strength to be tired and push through. If he's that guy, he's the same person every day, and he's calm and level-headed, his actions are going to teach you greater than his words. Don't y'all realize that? Don't you see it even in children? Children see your actions more than your words.
Yeah.
But don't you think a wife sees your actions more than your words? Don't you see your captain's? If you look at that person's strength more than the jive he says, you'll listen to his words if those words match what you see every day out of him. That's when you'll listen to his words. But if those words don't match his conduct, you're like, whatever, bro. Cool. Con out of one. Then it's yes, Lord, I'm getting out of here. Con, bro. Yes. Let me go about doing my thing. That nature and that responsibility to lead from the front and be the pace setter is the same in each realm and level of leadership. It doesn't change. Okay. Let that verse go. Give me Proverbs 22:6.
Proverbs 22 and verse 6.
Somebody else give me 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Because it goes hand in hand. 3 and 1. Down to 3.
Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
This concept is not talking about just babies and children. Mosiah says, train up a child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Keep that concept of training up a child, and then take it to 1 Corinthians 3, verse 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1.
Let me get there real quick, Shalaki, sir. 1 Corinthians 3 and 1. Read that.
And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as I unto babes in Christ.
Even as unto babes in Christ. So you're supposed to sit back here and train up a child, whether it's a physical child or it's a spiritual child in Christ. Listen, if we're dealing with a sister, she's not getting the level of Bible verses you're getting. She's not. That means you got to sit back here. She is a child in the spirit. So are you going to sit back here and put the time in to develop that child in the spirit, and set the proper foundation of belief? Set the proper foundation of instruction enough? Can you sit back here and teach the stories? If it's not a council day, teach a story. If it's not a problem, teach something that can give us something to hold on to. A basic breakdown, a story, whatever issue she's going through, give her something positive to hold on to so she can start rearing her in a spiritual type of format. If I'm teaching a young boy or a young girl, I'm slowing things down. Are you slowing things down to teach her rib? In a way where she can see it and grasp it? But the problem is you have to sit back here and switch modes in order to even start looking at her and the situation that clear. In order to sit back here and figure out what spiritually she's going to need, you have to detach emotion out the equation. You can't, first you got to get rid of exhaustion and tired. You got to let it go. You can't be focused on how tired you are. You can't be focused on the attitude of that day. You have to be able to detach all these things and give this spirit what she needs. Just like you do when you're bright-eyed and bushy till 8 a.m. dinner with brothers, or 5:30 a.m. How about that one? The same damn thing. At least there you're willing to get into the mode to start developing. This is why this is about the Most High has beautified when the man and wife or there's unity amongst the brothers, but that's the end product. It's a legitimate investment into your wife. It's a legitimate investment into men. For those of y'all who've been around brothers a long enough time, it takes 5 to 10 years to start seeing something in the man. Depending on how long it takes him to come out of his head case, his issue. Very few guys, maybe like a handful I've seen in life, get it in like 2 years, and they take off. But most don't. Most it takes time and teaching and reteaching. I'm talking about teaching the same topics over and over and over again. How many times have y'all taught your ribs to where you've retaught the same concepts? Now you're just getting started. Now you're just getting started. Because the crazy thing is, you're not going to even start being able to reteach those topics. You got to give her the whole gamut of the book as much as you can. So, because the funny thing is, I'm not going to go there. All I'm trying to say is, I'm just trying to paint the image of teaching for the long haul. Because that's what it's going to take. There's not a quick fix in developing a brother. There's not a quick fix in developing a sister. Yes, sir.
And that sometimes affects their patience.
And that's exactly why I'm saying it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it, because you'll say it a couple times, you'll drop some information, and you don't see the response. Then you're getting snappy. Then you're angry.
It's a 5 to 10 year, 15, 20. She may not get this to 5 years from now.
And that's, you know what messes things up the most is when you look like you're frustrated.
Yeah.
The frustration's on your face, and all of a sudden everything you said is like line aside. No, remember the mother and peanut side, you're like listen, it happens. It happens when they see the frustration off your face. If you're angry, the message is thrown out the door. When they see that you're frustrated and you're ready to be sleeping right now, then all of a sudden the message that you're bringing out doesn't penetrate the same. Listen, I'm saying shit that I've done. I'm not like, I've never done that before. No, I'm not gonna lie. These are real things that everybody faces in the flesh. That's why I'm so deadly precise tonight with my examples. There's deadly precision come out of my face today. You know why? I've lived it. And all I can tell you is how to practice not to do it, so the message and the word can be more effective. This doesn't guarantee anything. But if I want to be justified in the eyes of the Most High, that I did all I could, then this is the template to do. So read 1 Corinthians 3 again.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ. Verse 2. I have fed you with milk, and not with meat.
Even in the process of training, whether it's in athletics, whether it's in sports, you ever like train somebody and you gave a person an advanced concept, and you got to kind of go back a little bit and divide that advanced concept by 3, and then you got to give it to them in small increments. As you're learning the person you're teaching, you have to figure out how much this sister can receive, how much it can consume, and give them what they need. That's what teaching is about too. You can sit back here and be the most fanciest word person in the world, and if you're not sensitive to what a person needs, then your message is going to come off really disconnected.
It's not going to penetrate that person.
And that's the point. And
that's the love it takes. It takes real love to study the people's mind, or whoever's mind in front of you, and learn understand how they put their thoughts together.
And you know what? That takes a mastery of the flesh. Because it's not easy to do that and to have that clarity when you're running on like 30% energy. I know that. When you're beat, you're mentally exhausted, and you got to stay sharp, and you got to sit back here and at least every day give her something. Every day do a teach enough and give, and every day is trial and error. You're working on this, and you go a different approach, and you keep practicing and trying until you hit pay dirt, and then you'll say another thing and it didn't go right. It's the process of developing a spirit. If you don't learn the tireless nature it takes to every day go at a spirit. That is how you help to fix a person's mind. Men think you gotta yell and scream and show this force to get people to change. It's in the attention to details, and it's the everyday attacking the issue. The everyday addressing the issue is better than the word attacking. Everyday addressing the issue is how you get the responses you need out of the person that you say you care about. And understanding that I got to sit back and give this person milk. How much does this person need?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the frustration comes from like they're not developing at the pace that I expect them to.
And that's how you realize there's pride in us as teachers. Because we think, oh man, I got this fast. Well, who the hell are you?
Right.
Just because you think you're a smart guy. I think all of us have felt that some ways.
Right.
Because I think I got at this pace, everybody else should. It's not the case. And how about this person is sharper than you in another arena and caught this quicker than you? So that has to listen. Teaching is the ultimate humbling process. Because the second you think you had a dope ass class one day, then the next day it's like, bro, I gotta teach a different thing to a person, and it exposes my weakness, exposes my what I'm lacking. So this is not about perfection. This is about consistency. We think it's about being perfect, but it's really about, am I going at these issues every day? Or am I just making excuses to be lazy and not try? You can teach every day. One second. You can teach every day. You can try to teach information and inspire scripturally every day if you want to. Yes, sis?
What do you say when you're talking about them getting frustrated when they're teaching?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to not vex him even more? When I know I'm not getting it, or
you know what you do?
it's not clicking.
Exactly. What you do is this. This is why you have to be, your life has to be an open book to a sister. Because I can tell you this, just like I'm running off all these details about the intricacies of counsel and my ups and downs and mistakes, this is where this is coming from. This is straight my life brought out to y'all. I can bet you $1 bazillion you'll have a sister who's gone through her version of this same situation. For those of y'all who've been here enough, you've heard all these stories, right? You've been through it, you've seen it, then this is the situation. If you talk to them, they will tell you everything this is why we always said, young sisters have to counsel with older sisters. And this is the same thing with men. If men want to grow, their home life has to be an open book.
Their home life, especially.
Their home life.
Because listen, brothers can't like, I fought the spirit of rejection today, brother. I killed 10 Let me tell you how it made me feel on the inside. He said what? I killed 10 Philistines today. That's great, bro. What's going on at home? Shalom.
Everything's good. You
get that shalom real quick, guy. I killed a lot of Philistines today.
You killed a lot of Philistines today.
You killed so many Philistines. That's what we're doing, huh?
Yeah. You know, brothers, they want to give the tall tales about all the spirits they overcame. Yeah, I fought this spirit today. I'm giving you a report about all my victories, bro. I overcame that, and I fought that spirit, and I fought that spirit of doubt, and I fought that. I'm like, damn, this guy is like Jesus out here. Jesus, I'm getting Jesus answers right here. Damn. That's what I know is bullshit. All you do that's another damn T-Pain. All I do is win. I'm calling you about all the victories I have accomplished in Christ. I'm like, damn, these guys are magnificent guys. These guys are more important than I am. Damn. These guys are on fire. Bullshit. I know it's bull. I don't get no real shit. Especially, everything's cool. You sure? Ton. Okay, bro. I'll just wait. I'll wait. I can't go in there and fix it. But my point is this. This is what brothers do and women do. Brothers don't want to look bad, and sisters don't want to deal with cheesemate. These are the issues. There's cheesemate issues. cheese maze is a car saying that. It's about like somebody in Issachar land tell me what cheese man again is. I've heard it before and I'm regurgitating. It's gossip. That's the word. Yeah, it's gossip.
Cheese.
Well, cheese man. Yeah, and that's what people. They don't want your business out in the street, so they keep everything internalized because they don't want to be thrown back at them. Now that's cheese man. That and men don't want to look at. It's still pride.
How about that?
Cheese man means pride in English. How about that? That is the literal Spanglish definition. Cheese man equals pride. Because that's all it is. I don't want to look bad. I don't want to realize that, you know what? All this is full of problems. Men don't want to say that. It takes years. This is why it takes men 5 to 10 years to grow.
It don't have to take 5 to 10 years.
It doesn't have to.
Listen,
but we get the representative for 3 years.
It takes 3 years.
At least 3 years of representative communication.
You're going through 3 years of this. Con. Okay, 3. I got 1 more year of this shit out. Con. I said, all right. God damn, man. Woo.
There's a whole lot of time.
And then after 3 years, the third Passover. Woo! Shalom, what's going on? Got some thoughts. I've been having thoughts. It took 3 years for the thoughts to come out.
Con. And that's the point. And this is why it takes people so long, because they have a lot of unanswered questions. They're afraid to get it out because they don't want to look bad. But if you don't look bad, you can't grow.
You're gonna look bad either way.
You know what? The negative is going to pop out one way or the other. So you might as well get it out to a trusted sister who was an elder sister. Anyway.
And you're expected in your youth to make mistakes. I understand. Youth is about mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just stupid to be older and then be making youthful mistakes. That's when, like, bro, you should know this by now. This is year 7, 8 for you, bro. What are you doing this for? You don't know why you're here? I don't know why I'm here anymore. But it's been 8 years.
That was a question to ask year 1.
Gosh.
So this is what we're dealing with. So even in this 1 Corinthians 3, the more you teach, the more consistent you are in setting the tone in your home, you'll know what to give your rib to give her clarity. Because listen, sometimes you're gonna get a husband who's teaching and he's frustrated. And sometimes you gotta sit back here and power through it.
Watch your fingers.
Yeah.
You watch your fingers out?
Yeah. This
cut your finger out?
baby gate out. Make sure no fingers get messed up.
Yeah.
You don't want to cut the lights on, man? Nobody's napping in there. Why is the lights on?
It don't work.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. That's why it's a.
You got some light bulbs.
Like, what's going on here, man? There's no lights on. What's going on in there? It's hanging out. Anyway, there's one of those lamps you can put in there, or somebody can. One of these things. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. The Jews will be illuminated.
Wow. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Anyway, so let's read on First Corinthians 3 again.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1.
I want verse 2.
Verse 2. I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it.
Mm-hmm.
Neither yet now are ye able.
So, to answer your question though, sis, is if there's frustration, just let the information come out. Maybe even like record it, so on your free time you can sit back and listen to the class and get the message. Because if you're not getting the message because he might be going too fast, or if there's a little frustration there, that's going to happen too. Because this process isn't easy. So if I don't, you're messing me up, man. You get me these messages I'm trying to read and teach. Anyway, my point is. So what I'm saying, I'm like, the answer is, sister. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is if you know he's tired and the information is rushed or hurried, or you have questions and he's just trying to get the information out, you still write it down. You still stay in order. What I'm bringing out is these scenarios so we can keep working on it. Listen, all I can say is sometimes the husband's going to be on point and he's going to be perfectly calm. Sometimes he's not. Listen, if you can be in order, be in order. I'm just saying that, sometimes if the sister can't handle it and she snaps, these are the reasons why. I'm not here sitting back and giving anybody permission to sin or anybody permission to be out of order. I'm just explaining the dynamics and how and why you get the reactions you're getting. The husband sometimes might be quick and snappy because he's tired. That's something he has to work on. On the flip side, the sister has to lock in too and be patient. You know what I'm saying? The sister might sit back here and lose interest. Or I've been there before. When I was really young, I would teach, and the sister might be like, look like they're not interested, and that's my cue to say, see, this person don't want the scriptures. But you know what? I can't focus on that. I got to teach the damn Bible every day until this person runs out of the house. I can't take this no more! I didn't cut his set up for this! because that's Satan in there that makes you want to sit back here and stop teaching. It's like this gonna be the house of the Lord, or it ain't gonna be no damn house. You gonna have it's because you gotta nurture or that part of you that's not gonna give in to that spirit that wants to divide the house and make it not about the Bible. When I was young, I was 20, bro. I did that, man. I messed up. I was teaching, and I said, man, forget this shit, man. I'll teach tomorrow. I got to teach tomorrow morning. This person don't want the Bible. And I should have said, you know what? We're going to all be uncomfortable reading the damn Bible in this house. That's what I should have did. I didn't. What that was going to change things, I don't know. But at least if I would have did it, I would have said I was completely blameless. And I didn't fall in and get suckered into the I don't want to listen to the Bible thing. That's my point. So everybody is trying to grow, and there has to be a consideration on both ends. Because in your mind, it's gonna be like, at least he's teaching me. So let me suck this up as he's learning.
It's almost like you speak two languages. Like the husband can be conveying these scriptures, and then the sister can take it to the other sister, like, I didn't get this. Can you tell me? And she'll get the message. More than like.
Because y'all both have to understand that this connection is very fragile. Her listening is fragile. The brother learning how to be patient while he's teaching in a fragile situation. All this shit is crucial, and both parties have to be conscious of it so you can keep nurturing the spirit of studying and reading, teaching and getting taught. And y'all got to lean on each other to push each other back into studying and reading. Teaching and studying and reading. That's the point. It's hard work, and this is where learning how to give the right milk. Learning how to give milk. Maybe I have to slow this thing down and deal with stories. That's why I said stories. Sitting back here and going into like Sabbath type angles. Stories, maybe some Josephus.
And Psalms too.
Psalms. Hell, I'm not even gonna lie, and I hate even saying this on. No, I ain't gonna say it online. Nope. What I am gonna say is constantly just taking. You don't have to learn the whole Bible overnight. This challenge is an everyday thing. Can whoever I'm teaching learn a little bit every day? We'll sit, but I'm not even gonna lie to you. We're going over heavy topics, and I'll ask everybody how class was, and I'm like, damn, they only got like 1/25 of it out. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go over this another 50 times before they get the whole thing. But that's okay too, and that's okay if they get a little bit of it. At least they got a little bit. That's why the lesson is in the volume of teaching, not this one super class. It's in the volume of your work is where you get the development. The volume of your work and the volume of your example.
Wow. Okay, so you're saying
is what teaches.
You're saying consistency over perfection, and you're saying volume versus doing these super splurge campaigns like I guess extreme cleanup missions.
Yes, and this is when I used to have a problem with back in how the camp used to be years ago. It'd be this 4-hour, 5-hour counsel all-nighter, bro, when all we had to do was counsel a little bit every day. If we dealt with the problems a little bit every day, you can stay on top of things. You don't have to go through so many extremes to fix the spirits of the men. It's the same thing in us. If I can every day just get a little lesson into this sister's head, then I did my job. And that's why it's not, listen, when you're teaching, it could be 30 minutes. Can you get 30 minutes in? It don't gotta be these 2-hour marathon
6
classes.
hours, yeah.
Can you get 30 minutes, a good, healthy, clean 30 minutes? Talk about a concept. Take what she's going through from the job and create a class behind it, or a scriptural battle behind it. That's a lesson right there. We got the rest of our lives to do this. Because when it's just fire, 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 wickedness, 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 you don't nurture the spirit of wanting to learn this. Like we said, the Bible becomes punishment. That was how it was for me. When I sat back and did with my first rib, it was the Bible is, you're off, going to the Bible. It should have been, the Bible is here, is not your enemy.
Yeah,
This Bible is what strengthens you. And you have to learn to love this. I got to teach to where you learn to love this, along with my example. My example and my words and my teaching have to all fit together.
A lifestyle.
If you don't, nobody is going to believe you. They're going to say you need more people out. I'm sorry, that was corny. The point is, that's the point. If you don't live it and you don't teach it, you're not consistent with it, then it's not going to be received. And the message, you're not going to be, nobody's going to be able to pull the strength from you.
You have to have tangible confirmation.
But that tangible confirmation is every day. Every day I show it. I'm the same guy in Christ every day. The more I show these ebbs and flows, it's harder to be trusted. Anyway, continuing Colossians. I mean Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 3. For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you...
When it says, ye are yet carnal, that doesn't just mean I'm a wicked person. It just means people even need to learn how to gain, what do you call it, consistency in reading the Bible. Most people that come in this truth don't read the Bible, have never read the Bible. The Bible wasn't even a part of their life ever. So if that's the case, you got to wean them on the Bible maybe 15, 20 minutes a day. And that's their capacity. I can teach in class and I can see by the room, man, the class has had enough. They're done. They're checked out. Let me cancel it. Let me get rid of it. Let me end it, son. You can see it. If you're not clouded by emotion, this person's done. Just end it. And that's healthy. But that comes from doing it enough to where you can start to see it. To where you don't get angry. But that anger also just, you got to keep practicing through it. That frustration, keep practicing through it. And then finding victories in small lessons. That's what I had to learn in dealing with men for multiple years. Can I find victory and happiness because a person understood a little bit of it? Listen, I look at it as you're peeling an onion. When you're developing a spirit, you're peeling an onion. There's many layers of an onion. And can I be satisfied with peeling a little bit at a time? That's why this class is not just about dealing with wives and homes. It's dealing with children. It's dealing with brothers. It's the process of development that takes so much time. But he says, but ye are yet carnal, right?
For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envy and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men?
And listen, all of us are sitting back here in carnal and walk as men. So as we're learning how to be teachers, we have to not let the carnal nature of our people. We talked about the carnal nature of our people in 2 Ezra chapter 3. This is what we're battling against when we're trying to rehabilitate people. We can't let the negative and the envy and the outlook and the slothfulness affect the fact that we're the same guy teaching every day, getting the word out, working on our consistency. It's the teaching and the consistency that helps the development. The culture helps the development. The tone that you set every day is what teaches. Let it go. Go to Ecclesiastic is in the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 18 through 22.
So 6 and 18?
Yes, sir.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 18. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up.
Yep.
The Most High is dealing with us as a parent.
Yeah, I know.
He's taking a parental perspective on it.
I know. And that's
My
how we,
son.
and that's why we have to take, and this is the situation I was going to say. This is how we have to take our marriage with our wife. Yes, they're your wife, but they're also really your spiritual daughter.
Right, yeah.
You have to look at, if you can learn to look at your wife as your spiritual daughter, maybe you can detach that emotion and that frustration that comes behind your wife saying and doing things that frustrate you to keep you from doing your spiritual job, because all those things happen. Being able to detach the emotion from the marriage is what the hardest thing to do is. How do I keep this about the Bible? How do I keep this about giving her instructions that she needs to learn to hold on to so she can catch up, versus the exchange of emotion and anger, and you say this because you know this fuels me, I respond, I know this fuels you. Half the time you can't get past 5 verses because the wife thinks you're attacking her, and then you don't think she appreciates and she wants you to teach her. Half the time we can't get past that. The pride and the emotion in the spiritual exchange. Is that?
Would I guess that'd be considered being a father to the fatherless?
Well, not necessarily. Not here. This is about looking at your wife as a student.
Right.
But that's hard. That's damn hard. I'm not just lying. Looking at your wife as a student and not your rib, who knows you're trying and she's pushing your buttons, that makes things a problem.
It's like multifaceted.
Yeah.
You're a brother, you're a husband, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're your sister, you're your daughter, and
Yeah.
you're a father.
But being able to maintain that in the heat of the battle is hard. That's the challenge. But this is how it has to be if you want to effectively and consistently establish the spirit of teaching in your home.
Make the situation just that much more pure.
But then once again, the husband, I always say the husband, because the wife is the weaker vessel. The husband has to be the mature one. He has to come into the situation and detach the emotion and get the message out. I got to teach this Bible. You can sit back and say what you want. I'm getting this word out. And every day I'm going to get this word out. Our marriage is contingent upon me getting this word out. Our union is contingent upon how consistent I bring this word out. And that's the mindset that has to that's the tirelessness that has to be set forth, initiated from the husband.
So you hit that wall, so is that like skewed expectations? Like you lose like an aspect of that malignant root. This is in us naturally. So finding a way to remember that in the midst of it.
And hitting that wall is also a challenge on each and every one as a teacher. Because we have an inflated hubris to tell ourselves we've given our women, or we've taught this brother all I can teach him. That's me telling myself I've perfectly conveyed this information to this person.
Not true.
I have to sit. We live it. Once you sit back here and you think you taught somebody, that's the beginning. That's when you realize they've only learned half or less of what you brought to them. Like I said, the greatest lessons come from your actions and your consistency. You can sit back here and say I teach every day, but if you're inconsistent with your works, the word doesn't have the same consistency. You can be a great example, but if you don't teach, the example don't matter. Yes, sis, I got you next.
So would it be wrong, again, for example, if she didn't understand what was being taught to her, but she went ahead and basically went along to get along to keep the unity?
Yes, because that's what we're saying. Getting, but getting along, and that's what I said. Not videotaping, but recording. Because if I record it, maybe I can sit back and learn at home.
But I'm saying in that moment, so in order for her to, in your example, go back and study and talk to older sisters, the conversation at some point would have had to have stopped, right? Because she would have noticed that he was getting upset or frustrated or something like that. So in that moment, is it wrong to just, you understand? Yes, I understand. And then you go and you try to find a way to understand what's being taught to you.
Because the thing is this: if both parties are so caught up into the response of the other one, they'll never get anything done. It's like if I'm sitting, even if as a teacher, and I'm teaching a person, and I sense disinterest, do I stop? I can't stop. If I stop because I sense that you're like clocking out, I got to keep teaching, even though part of me thinks that your mind is somewhere else. Because if I react to every facial expression, every yawn, then I'm not going to break what's inside of me and bring out the
conversation ever going to come to an end then if you as the man, you're trying to fight, you're trying not to judge according to the appearance, right? But at the same time, she is not receiving what you're saying. So at some point, if she continues to say, yes, or I know I don't understand, that's just going to frustrate him even more. So that's what I'm saying in that moment. The conversation has to stop at some point. It's going to be like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Well, this is not I'm not talking about necessarily counsel. I'm talking about the spirit of teaching. If there's counsel, there's got to be more back and forth about getting understanding. What I was talking about is when if the husband is teaching and I'm missing a point and I don't understand a point, do I sit back here and stop him in the middle of the voice because I think he's frustrated? If you're in counsel, you're gonna have to go do the back and forth thing into the understanding. I was explaining more like a teaching thing.
Even in teaching, because at some point, I mean, I don't know that it matters if it's counseling or teaching because there's still a back and forth exchange, right? Those ideas, whether you understand, whether she understands what the man is saying, and whether he is receptive to how she's receiving the information.
I think it's a little different because in the situation where it's teaching, I've been in situations where my rib, I'm not necessarily a yana, I'm not gonna lie, but it was I've taught my rib before, and I didn't feel she was trying to listen. And that creates a damn demon in a husband. I don't know about y'all, but you're trying to teach and she just is not reciprocating. And hear me out. And sometimes to help that husband nurture that spirit of teaching, sometimes you let it go as a wife so that the spirit of teaching continues. And as a husband, if I'm trying to initiate the spirit of teaching at home and I don't feel my wife is reciprocating it, I can't let that get in the way of getting it in. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why sometimes not listening to the response in that arena is important, because a lot of times at the house you're breaking a spirit of teaching. Because if you're initiating to establish the spirit of teaching at home, then you gotta let the class finish out. And then once the habit and the routine of teaching is established, I think then the questions can kick in. But I'm telling you, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes teaching at home is a demon. And if you don't do it enough, then you're not going to get to the next level where you're going to be able to receive the information. It's almost like breaking the spirit and establishing the routine of both parties coming together to learn has to be more important than the understanding initially.
Right.
And then once the spirit of coming together and getting the class and information is broken, then there could be some casual back and forth or questions or I don't understand.
So like a common understanding of what's the motivation. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is
A common understanding of what's the motivation.
We're establishing a pattern.
the pattern has to be initiated first.
It's like anything, even working out. Establishing the pattern, going from non-physical to physical. You have to establish a pattern. It's going to be up and down.
Because now, if you got the husband and wife,
come,
and they've established a pattern of getting class, then hell yeah, let's ask questions. But if just even coming together is horse shit, and I can't get this sister to listen, or the husband is frustrated every 5 minutes, you just gotta go through the information till it's done for however long a period of months it takes to initiate just the consistency and the spirit of teaching in the house.
It happens when we establish culture in the camp.
I know, because you're breaking a spirit. And when you're breaking a spirit in the house, it's about getting the damn thing done every day. And then once that habit is broken, and once the spirit is broken, then you can sit back here. The husband's going to be less apt to be frustrated. The wife is going to be less apt to doze off and be disinterested because they've both gotten to the point that they've accepted this is going to happen. So that's more important. Getting it done initially is more important than how connected they both are. Because listen, it's whether that's in a breakdown setting or any other marriage dysfunction. And whatever marriage dysfunction you have, we're just doing this shit because we're doing it. Do we not know about that one? And whatever thing that y'all two ain't clicking up, if there's a damn problem and it's not working out right, you just got to keep doing this shit and going through the motions until they both come together and then both of y'all want to do it.
And you share the same motivation.
Mutual.
But you got to do it. But you got to be uncomfortable. It's got to be all weird and awkward until it's not weird and awkward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it's teaching or any other thing. Thursday date night, whatever y'all do in y'all houses. Breaking the habit is more important than the message at the time.
It's like cooking.
Just getting it done.
Like initially, young couples when it comes to cooking, it's not going to be this gourmet meal. I've seen sisters, new sisters, they come in, they cook a meal, the husband's like, this is good. They're like, it was alright. Then you see 2 years later,
what was that meal, man? Was it like hot dogs chopped up, man, and some goulash shot?
I don't know. It's just whatever she got a recipe from the sister.
I'm just messing with you.
She tried, and you eat the meal.
Helper.
Thank you for the meal. Thank you for trying.
Right, that's a really good
Thank
point.
you for trying. Listen, it wasn't the bomb, but it was appreciated. You made some bomb rice-a-roni.
Yeah.
Right? It was always rice-a-roni. It's always those little boxy meals out. Cause I'm trying to make a box meal for you, baby. Like, oh, thank you for the box
chicken. I appreciate the box chicken.
It is good. They did put the seasoning in there. It didn't warm up, right?
They followed the instructions.
And the noodles aren't perfectly squishy like they should be.
Or is the rice like clumpy together and not separated out?
Exactly.
It's like,
and you're like, you want to get some hot sauce that's hot it up. And this
hot sauce on the rice.
Get some hot sauce on it. It'll be okay.
You're gonna dry it.
It'll be okay. And then
clumpy noodles. You can taste the starch in the noodles act, and the attachment of the noodles act.
Yeah, the San Francisco treat. So you're sitting here eating, and you're like, okay, whatever. The crocodile, thank you.
At least God gave me a meal tonight.
Hey, it's better than Wendy's. You tell yourself it's better than Wendy's.
Yes.
You tell yourself it's better than Wendy's because you know you was eating Wendy's every day. You know the 4 for 4 was going hard.
4 for 4.
I need a rib. Lord send a rib. You get some rice, you're thankful for a box chicken. Over time, though, it should get better. Over time, you should get some rosemary, and you should get some
thyme.
Yeah, you can get some thyme. Oh, I got some thyme.
Oregano.
Rosemary. I got some pink salt in this. Ooh, I got some white salt too. There's some white pepper. Not the black one. That paprika. Ooh, this is paprika. She gave me different kinds of peppers. So, but you know what? The meals evolved from you eating 4 for 4 by yourself, to at least getting some box chicken,
Yeah.
to thank you for the box chicken. I'm gonna be thankful. You look up, you got a plate with different little items on there, and be thankful.
And my answer is about when you're in a marriage and there's just, you guys are in a rut in different aspects of your marriage, going through the motions and getting into the habit of going through the motions is more important than both parties loving to do it right now.
Right.
That will eventually grow. But breaking the habit of not wanting to do it is more important than every question the sister has being answered, and more important than that wife being super joyous and reading the Bible. Get what I mean? Because that has gotten in the way of a lot of damn growth, is the lack of wanting to do it in the first place. So going through the routine of getting it done is the focus. What you gonna say?
No,
Get what I'm saying? That make more sense?
So what you're saying is it's about appreciating the developmental.
It's for two people, it's appreciating that they're both trying and that we're both here. We're both here and we're both trying. And can we be happy with this and eventually work on growing and stair-stepping it to something more?
Appreciating the process.
Appreciating the fact that they're trying.
Right.
Because the truth is this: when you're getting roadblocks in relationships, you just got to get to the point that you tried, and I'm glad you're trying.
And sometimes that's enough to go to the next battle.
And that's the thing.
Letting that person know, you know what, I appreciate you just even trying.
And perfection and getting understanding information doesn't matter at that particular. Right. Eventually it will. But that's no different than Paul saying, listen, bro, just don't drink blood and don't sit back here and just don't drink blood and follow Christ, bro. And we'll work on everything else later. We'll work on all the other laws later. Let's just get you to get off dealing with your family members.
Idols.
Well, idols, blood, and not and sleeping with your family members.
You said Christ.
And Christ too, because it was about Christ.
I'm sorry.
So it was Christ and a couple of the basic get off the idols and a couple of things, and that's where we start.
Follow Christ.
And eventually we'll sit back here and work on circumcision and all the other laws. But let's get you to work and fix a few things, and we can build on the others. You understand? So let's go to Ecclesiastes 6 verse 18.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 18. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age.
And we just talked about children and how we're children in the spirit. So as soon as you start to wake up and learn who you are spiritually, you have to be in the spirit of gathering instruction, and the husband has to be in the spirit of teaching and instructing. As early as you're coming in, every day should be about learning. Every day it should be about gaining and gathering instruction about how to please the Heavenly Father. Yeah.
But what you're saying is, we have to establish healthy practices.
Okay.
Because those practices are going to be your lifeline in the camp.
Okay.
If you don't have established study routines as a brother in the camp or a sister, you're going to be emotionally all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an established daily communication, you're going to make dumb choices that you got to go backtrack and go back 3 weeks and fix it because you operate without even discussing the decision.
Okay.
If you sit here and don't establish work ethic, you're going to deal in poverty.
Okay.
If you make bad decisions, bad moves, and don't discuss sharpening policy, you're gonna have wacky Xanadu policy.
And if you don't learn how to deal with pressure by going through the scriptures, you're not gonna last in this. If you don't learn how to deal with pressure by calling sisters and reading the Bible, you have to start learning that instruction now. The solution isn't forgetting about it. The solution isn't drinking a couple glasses, like one big glass of wine this big. Solution. I ever saw those memes where I only drink one glass a day, but the glass is like that. It's like this. Listen.
That's kind of funny.
That's not the solution. The solution isn't drinking a glass of wine. The solution is not watching telenovelas. The solution is not sitting back here calling family. The solution isn't sitting back here and just crying yourself to sleep. The solution is in being taught, instructed, reading, and counseling. But that instruction has to come from your spiritual youth up. As soon as you come into this knowledge, you have to practice that habit. You have to practice, and even with counsel, you got to sit back and practice and counsel with sisters until your husband comes home. Because a lot of times arguments happen because you haven't even gotten the emotion and the clarity out of the issue before you present it to your husband. Then you all of a sudden there's a fight, and you don't even know what the hell the problem is. This is why you have sisters, to call sisters, talk about the issue, so now you have an emotional understanding of what you're dealing with. Then you present that to your husband. Now you can actually get past the fighting and deal with real counseling and get to real solutions.
Because we're still fighting past our natural evil heart.
And this is about problem solving.
Our tendencies, yeah.
And let's working on these problems from your youth up. And that's how you get clarity. Read on.
Verse 19. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth.
And the truth is this, you a person, as we're coming to learn Christ, are you willing to go to work? Is the husband willing to sit back here, come on every day, and go to work at home?
Because those two.
And is that wife willing to sit back here after her job and her day and the children? Am I willing to sit back here and still get this Bible? On the work mentally to still be able to listen and learn and gather information.
What you're saying, plowing. Plowing doesn't mean like you're just gonna play with the dirt.
God.
Hope it gets soft. That dirt is hard.
I know.
Those
And you know, breaking that soil is breaking the spirit. Is breaking those habits in yourself, breaking those old ways. How serious are you into making the home culture spiritual? How dedicated are you to making the house operate spiritually and not carnally? Read on. I think we're going to only go and finish this chapter. We're going to have to do a part 2, man. I don't want to just rush it. It's getting late. I know brothers I can feel that work demon is in the back of everybody's head. That body's on.
But it's accept the idea we have an evil heart.
Yep.
Because we're born with flaws.
Yes.
It's not just we're bad people. We're born with natural flesh.
And if I can understand that, I can sit back here and not take my ribs ups and downs personally.
Because she was born with those issues.
Just like you were born with, and
exactly.
that's why it was important that we started off with that concept.
Yeah.
And once you get past the fact that this is something, this wicked heart's was the most I never took off of us. Now we can understand it's up to us to set the tone and set the structure to help build and help break that out of a person's spirit.
And that structure is based on my daily application and my daily biblical practices.
God.
Daily biblical practice established in the home is program.
And that's what that husband's supposed to do, is to sit back and take his camp sacrifice and his camp work and the camp structure home and teach and teach and teach, because the teaching in the system is what establishes the rehabilitation. Not just constant yelling and screaming and violence. That solves nothing. Let's continue in Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 19.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 19. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth.
It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take a long time. Plowing a field is not like an overnight process.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Right on. Hey, listen, and plowing and sowing is an everyday, arduous grind. Yes,
sorry, agriculture is essentially what they're talking about. Agri?
Yeah.
The root of it means to drive or to draw out. It's a working. It's an actual application of the hands. Right, and culture means care, to tend to guard, to cultivate. You know what I'm saying? So just the combination of those is just how he always goes back to these husbandman concepts.
Yes, because it's hard work and it's day-to-day work, and even the idea of the hedge, it's day-to-day. It's day-to-day work. It's day-to-day putting your hands to the plow, teaching, redirecting thoughts, clarifying thoughts, re-instructing, clarifying thoughts, re-instructing, consistent action, work. This is hard damn work. And it's not about the length of time you have with your woman at night. It's about, am I giving this person something spiritual every night? Or a lot of nights? Can I bring something spiritual to the house? to feed her spiritually, because we're sure in the hell getting fed spiritually here at the school. How consistent and hands-on are you declaring her thoughts, plowing that mind, taking that negative dirt out, those weeds out, and putting in something positive? Being that helping her be that filter. Read on.
Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits.
Exactly. You have to wait to see the responses you're looking for. You know. That if you're waiting for good fruits, that means you should just be happy that you taught her the scriptures today. And is that enough for you? That I taught her was enough. I gave her the word. I'm teaching. I'm giving. The fact that I gave was enough. Read on.
For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her.
If you make your home about the Bible, it shouldn't take that damn long to start seeing good, healthy spiritual signs. But if home is to sleep and lay up, yeah, you're gonna have problems in the house. If homes is just there to sleep and lay and it's to lay your head and nap and fart and eat food out, it's not gonna work, bro. Read on.
But thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon.
You know what eating of her fruits is? You know what this person, your rib is giving you a spiritual conversation. She's talking to you about a counsel she gave a sister and how she helped another sister out. And you can start seeing that, damn, she's starting to reason and think like me. She's starting to process like me because all the teaching I'm giving her, she's giving it to other people. That's how a person starts to think like you. Read on.
Verse 20. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned.
And the truth is this, and if we accept that, that's what I have to teach and know that they're not going to receive it. And you teach every day and with that stone face or that disinterested face until that spirit breaks. Can I teach me like this? Like this. Look at this. Cut the damn TV off. This. No, this. And you got to keep talking Bible talk out because it's unpleasant. Or then you get this is like this. Can you put your phone down, please? Listen, it's the whole thing. Can I sit back and deal with those annoying scenarios that's happening as I'm teaching? Every 5 minutes you go to the restroom. Oh, it's just 1,000 restroom breaks and water breaks and snack breaks. You got to eat chips when I'm teaching the Bible to you. You got to eat snacks when I'm teaching scriptures. Anyway, can you just read the Bible? Why is got to be all these snacks and meals and relaxing things when I'm reading the damn scriptures?
And that's usually, I'm sorry.
That vexed the cuss out there. Like, what are you doing? Can you stop chewing and just listen and read Bible verses? Oh my God. Anyway, I'm just explaining real things. These are real damn things. Whether it's that or I'm yawning. Is a yawn fest? You weren't yawning when you watch the television? Now all of a sudden I'm yawning my ass off. They're getting wider and longer every 5 minutes. Like damn. And this is like this. He's like this. I'm like, dude. I'm like, yeah. And Moses was saying this. I'm like, shit, man. You want to just give him and quit? The process of teaching is unpleasant to the unlearned, but if the more you do it, the more it's going to be received. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 20 from the top. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her.
And that's the truth. The truth is this. We understand that if a person just doesn't give themselves to it, the Most High will eventually remove them. But you can't operate like that. You have to give your spirit and teach, and give this spirit, your rib, as much of an opportunity to embrace the Most High as possible. And you can't put a timetable on it. But you got to be consistent in your presentation, consistent in your teaching, consistent in what you're giving and bringing to the table. Read on.
She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial.
When you're sitting back here and you're trying to teach your rib wisdom, or teach anybody wisdom, the process of getting wisdom is very uncomfortable. This is why they're sitting back here yawning and looking around and they're disinterested. It's a lot of brain work and it's a lot of spiritual stress and strain. And we have to accept that you got to teach through the attitude swings and the moods and the disinterest. Teach through it to establish the culture of how you want your house run. If you don't establish this and go through the discomfort, the house will never be the way you need it. Read on.
She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long.
A carnal person is going to want to run from all the restraints and the restrictions and the discipline. But you got to be consistent enough to where they start to accept it. But how consistent are you? Next week we'll go over about the scripture talking about how you have to be adamant to their flint. As much as they want to sit back and be comfortable, you have to be that much more dedicated to teaching. That much more dedicated to showing her the right way. It's your desire to teach and instill the right ethics and structure versus her desire to be comfortable.
Right.
Your desire has to be greater than hers. Your desire to push strength in Christ and teach has to dominate her desire to be comfortable or to not give herself to the book. Read on.
Verse 22. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many.
Now listen, this is really talking about the men. The men are here to pursue wisdom. And this process is talking about what a man has to go through to establish wisdom. And as you get wisdom, the more you learn, you still have to structure and organize your home based off the pursuit of wisdom. And that will be the determining factor to tell if this sister is really about this marriage or not. Because if you're consistent enough in the book, either she's going to adjust and obey, or she's going to bounce. And you don't got to put a hand on her. You don't got to call her out of her name. You don't got to be rebellious and out of order. But either this woman's going to love the Bible, learn to start liking it at least to start, or she's going to head for the hills and get the hell out of here. Right? But the program and what you establish at home is what you need to sit back and be consistent in to see where this person's at.
And she'll miss all of that information and structure, and she'll be blowing your phone up. It'll be too late. You'll be out there.
Ain't no more phone calls today. Ain't no more counseling today.
But brothers want to be entertainers of that too. Listen, bro. Once it's done, it's done, bro.
And once it's done, it's done. That's why as a husband, you give your all in structuring the home the right way when you got it. So there's no regrets. She can kick rocks when she wants to bust.
I'm bringing this out.
That's just me. I'm sorry.
Look, no. The issue is because brothers want to play the back and forth. I get it for new spirits and young men. But if you're establishing a righteous program in your home and it's based on counsel, not just you're freestyling, figuring things out you see on the TV, or you're just thinking it up. No, you're actually transparent and you're getting out. You're doing that's too much out. That's that you need to turn. You're getting fine tuned, so to speak. You're getting fine tuned, and you're establishing a spiritual home. If that spirit rejects that spiritual home, and she has to deal with somebody that is a straight dragon or a beast or whatever, then that was her choice.
And you're justified in the spirit, and the Most High will send you a spirit who appreciates it. This is why you're supposed to do things the right way. Because if you do things the right way, and a woman that you have doesn't appreciate it, He will send you something better. He'll send you a woman who actually appreciates the lifestyle you're trying to set up. But you don't want to sit back here and have a janky, inconsistent household and think the Most High is going to sit back and send you a rib who really wants to serve the Most High. If you're not consistent with your teaching now, why would He reward you with a woman who really wants to hear the Bible? Is it going to make you want to read the Bible more? No. Take advantage of what you got now and set the tone the right way now. We're going to end it at that. We'll I think we're going to have to finish this up next week. We'll do part 2 next week. Any questions? Israel at the water for tuning in. Shalom Shalom got y'all on Wednesday. All right? All right, shalom.